Welcome. I'm Glenda Umaña, and I'm so happy to have you in our audience today in this special Hispanic Heritage Month. And we have a very special story today, very inspirational, that I just discovered myself, and I'm so excited. I'm myself Hispanic, to share this story with all of you, especially because I'm originally from Costa Rica, and it's about our neighbors, and I'm so proud to be part of this region. And I'm talking about a company that just recently during this pandemic, they were the ones who produced all these special gowns, all these special protection gowns and masks for New York, for the medical specialties and for all the medical people that work in hospitals. Do you know that this was produced in Salvador and Honduras? Well, I'm going to introduce our guests today. They are Felix Simán. Here's here with me. Felix Simán is founder and chairman of Intradeco, a company of 37 years. Hi, Felix. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Glenda. My pleasure.
And we also have Jaime Miguel. He's the Intradeco CEO. And so we're going to share with both of them the story of this company of 37 years that is, I found this very inspirational too, that during this such a hard time for the corporative world, this company, Intradeco, is even hiring more people. Let's start with Felix. Let's start with you. I want you to tell us how you started this company 37 years ago. You came and studied in Salvador, in US, you came to study, and then you didn't go back. You started this company, a product company, to give also 10,000 people. You generate employment for 10,000 people.
Well, Glenda, we really started out of a need to market our product outside of El Salvador during the Civil War. I had just finished my studies in New Orleans. So I decided that I was going to stay in Miami, open an office, and just had a dream of transforming the textile company the family had for many, many years into an export company and enter the U.S. market back in 1983. It was very humble beginnings. I started out of my house. I didn't have an office for about 6 months. And we started importing yarn and learning about the market. And this is the story how we started. The need is the master of innovation.
But how you started and you were producing in Salvador and bringing all the apparel to US, how you finally got those big contracts here with companies in United States?
Well, at the beginning, the company didn't even do $1 million in sales back in 1983. Every year, we've been very blessed with new opportunities, developing new customers. In the late 90s, we started making some key acquisitions, and our most important assets are people, a reputation of integrity, and we developed a relationship in the mid-90s with Walmart and Target, and that has gone a very long way into being a critical partner of them. But it has taken 38 years. Every year, a little bit more.
Wow. I bet it has been hard. I bet it has been very challenging. Jaime, tell us, in these hard times, in the middle of the pandemic, how you guys made it to were the ones who produced all these special protection gowns that are produced in Salvador, in Honduras. You generate, as I was saying, 10,000 employment, 10,000 people that depend on Intradeco, and you distribute this gowns, especially in New York during the emergency? How was that?
No, it was several companies, Glenda, but we were the first ones, I think, to develop the level 1 isolation gowns and ship them. It took us, since we got the first call from one of our customers that they were in talks, the U.S. government came to them and to a couple of medical distributors and asked them to try to modify these supply chains to get these type of products, specifically in the middle of the pandemic, when New York was the center of the U.S. in terms of cases per day, and it was critical. I think it was back in April. So after 3 weeks of testing, development, we were able to accommodate or modify our textiles and our processes to come up with the level 1 isolation gown, and we were the first company to ship them. It was early April, and yeah, I know the first ones came to New York, but then got distributed to all over the U.S.
Felix, I want to know a little more in detail. I bet everybody that is with us want to know how, I mean, it's a company 37 years now, and producing all this, and you, as you were saying, these big contracts with also Target and Walmart companies is that, with Gerber too, with Gerber. How you did that? How has been the process? What has been the key for success for your company, Felix?
Well, we've always kept a very humble, lean entrepreneurship attitude with a strong doses of resiliencies, because we've gone through a lot of challenges through the years, especially in the 80s during the war in El Salvador. We had challenging years like earthquakes, and September 11 was a big impact on our business. And I think that the integrity of our company, keeping an entrepreneurship spirit on being open for new opportunities always, terrific management team, and always in highest integrity, with a very strong focus in creating good jobs in Salvador. And I am convinced that if we had not created Intradeco, those jobs will probably be in other countries, but I doubt that they will be in Salvador. I remember starting with 3 people since we opened the office in the mid-80s, and now we're a family of 10,000 people. And even during this pandemic, which by far has been the most challenging economic challenge we've faced in 38 years, we paid our people the 12 to 16 weeks that we were closed due to the pandemic. So it was a big financial strain. But we're here. Our customers have been terrific, and our people have been terrific. We're back in business, and at the moment we are expanding, hiring more people, and I think our total workforce today is about 300 people more than the pre-pandemic levels.
Wow. In this time saying that you're hiring more people, that sounds like music to everybody's ears. Jaime, what is the strategy? How are you doing that? Like hiring more people, that means you're getting more contracts. What has been the strategy for you guys?
I think the strategy, as a company, we've always been very quick to adapt to changes. I think nobody saw this crisis coming. Well, at least at the level of economic and social impact this pandemic has had. So we have a strategy to diversify, to keep growing. When I say diversify, we not only operate in El Salvador, we operate in 7-8 different countries. In terms of this hemisphere, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala are our hubs, and we're diversifying in terms of customers, but also in terms of product. We learn how to make new products, and I think it's a great opportunity. With this pandemic, opportunity comes, and it's a great opportunity to prove the impact of being close to market, close to the needle, close to where the fiber is being made. So we're close to the biggest market in the world. So I think we have to take advantage of it and elevate textiles, elevate our innovation, elevate our product in order to compete and to prove that we as a region can keep generating opportunities and compete with Asia, that in this industry has been the big monster historically.
Felix, you say you are Felix Simán, coming from a family very well known in Salvador, because of, you are business people that you started since last century. Tell us a little bit about your family and that you have that blood of negotiations, of business, of also challenging moments.
Well, my grandfather decided to settle in Salvador in 1921 due to persecution in the Middle East, and he was temporary in Salvador until things got better in the Middle East after the First World War, and he was in the same textile business. My father always told me that our family came back from the Phoenicians, which were traders in nature, and we will always be traders. My grandfather was a textile merchant who brought innovation to El Salvador, and my father, my uncles had the same tradition of high integrity innovation, be a very solid corporate citizen, and be global. And that's the environment where we were raised. And I think that is by far the best education that I had. Mm-hmm. And I guess that it comes in your genes when you're growing up in the business, and that's what you're exposed to.
Mm-hmm. Talking about challenging, and I need to ask this to both. I want to have your point of view because we need to talk a little bit about this, because at the same time you're having this year these contracts for producing these special gowns. At the same time, there was kind of some measures in your country by the government that impacted your production. Can you tell us your point of view about that, Jaime?
Well, I think we learned during the pandemic that it was something new for every government. Each country handled it different. Some were better than others. Some were more drastic than others. But yeah, during the pandemic, we had a major 12 to 14 weeks of very tough legal and I would say stability issues in terms of knowing if during the time of the shutdowns or the lockdowns we could work for different. I mean, we were doing PPE at 20% using very strict protocols, but then the decrease got a little more. Every 2 weeks in El Salvador, we had a couple of new decrees coming. And at one point, the interpretation of one of those laws, somebody said, no, we cannot, this doesn't apply for PPE on textiles. So our operation got shut down for 4 to 6 weeks. It was challenging, but I think it's a learning process. We got out of it, and now we're back, and that's part of why we are growing and diversifying.
Felix, do you want to add something about that, about what happened this year in the middle of the production, and how now you're back in the business producing all this and giving employment to more people in Salvador?
Well, it's an understatement to say that it's been a challenge. Like Jaime said, it was a learning process for the governments. We have been from the beginning very strict with protocols at a very high cost to our company and very good results where we haven't had any cases to inside our factories. We're providing meals, all the safety conditions, the protocols, private transportation. We have Glenda, right now we have 140 private buses managing our people, picking them up from their homes, taking them back home. And even so, public transportation in our country is already running. We're still doing private transportation to make sure our people are safe, that our working conditions are very safe, and providing good employment to our people. So it's been very, very challenging. I think we have exceeded the protocols that the government has instituted just to make sure that we're always an example corporate citizen and that our people feel good about working with our company. Our company participates in a global ranking, which we never publish ourselves, which is best places to work. And our companies have always been in the top 10 in El Salvador. And we want to keep it like that, even under these conditions where most companies are very financially strained. To make a difference, we're just kind of forgetting 2020, looking at the long term with a big family, and we'll do whatever it takes to keep our people safe and production going and generating exports for our country.
The other day I was talking with a leader, business leader in Europe about the opportunities. He said that with this crisis, there's gonna come new opportunities for our Latin America region to make more business with Europe. Talking about that, I want to know what is your advice of both of you to those people that are here with us and they want to, they're starting to do business, for example, with United States, like you're doing for so many years, for 37 years now. What is your advice? Because I bet at the beginning it was learning, right? To know how to make business, how to win contracts. And so what is your advice? What are the steps that need to be taken? Jaime.
Well, I think you need to have the right business model. It's a hyper competitive market, the U.S., and you need to have a good business model, good strategy, good people, and those three elements are gonna create a chemistry, and then results are gonna come. I mean, if you're adaptable to change and you have a good strategy, keep investing in your business, keep investing in innovation, in sustainability. I think in the last 10 years, we've made a very, very significant effort in aligning our strategy, our company and our corporate strategy to the sustainability effort, not only in textiles, in our processes, but also in how we incorporate materials and make our products environment friendly to the environment, because we're in an industry that historically hasn't been known for. So I agree with whoever told you that. There's a lot of opportunity coming, but you need to have the right strategy, and strategy is going to bring the right people and then the right investment to be competitive. It's tough out there, but definitely opportunity is gonna show up.
Felix, do you remember that first experience, that first contract with United States? Do you remember that? Can you tell
Absolutely.
us
I remember, Glenda, because I remember once selling textiles to a Miami company for $8,000, and I never got paid. And that was not a good lesson. But I do remember the beginning months were really challenging, a lot of uncertainty. El Salvador was going through a very difficult war, so keeping deliveries on time were challenging. But it was always that resiliency and that hope that things will work out. And it just worked out slowly, and delivering what you say, being good on your promises, learning about the business, innovating, identifying niches. And also one element that has been important is El Salvadorian people are very labor people. They really like to work. And so far we have governments that have been pro-business. Our company has worked under 6 different administrations in Salvador. Our company is totally apolitical. We are pro El Salvador and pro creating quality jobs, and we work with any government that has been elected democratically. We don't look at who is in charge as far as the political side. We do feel it's very important, especially at this particular time, that the country recognizes, the government, the need of being pro-business, because the competition from our neighbors, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, is more than ever. They're facing tremendous unemployment, and companies like ours are invited every day to open factories because the pandemic really destroyed probably 1/3 of the export business. Lack of liquidity, lack of market. Very few companies can withstand 12 weeks being closed. So our government in El Salvador in particular, in order to keep the jobs that exist, they need to really realize that our neighbors are very competitive and facing tremendous unemployment. It's so sad to see today, every morning, hundreds of people outside our factories looking for a job, willing to do whatever they can do. People who were in the informal market and they no longer have a job. And the same is happening in Guatemala and in Honduras. So we need to focus on creating an environment where, now that the US wants to move more production from China specifically to CAFTA, we have a framework where the multinational companies or even local companies are willing to invest in the future to create these jobs and control immigration, violence, and minimize poverty.
Well, that's what you're saying. I wanna. You were talking at the beginning about resilience, and it seems, Felix, that that's your specialty, because you're also been through health challenges. Can you tell us about that and how that changed? Did that change your point of view about the way you see business, the way you see your life?
In 2015, I was diagnosed with a terminal case of cancer. And one phone call where you get a diagnosis that your cancer, the tumor that you had was cancer and it had spread. So I faced just like any other challenge. I've always had a very balanced life. And my doctor, I remember, told me that I had 6 months to clean my bucket list. And I didn't do any change. I really didn't change anything. I've been always a family person. My company, the people here are my family. I never stop working. After 26 rounds of chemo, I will mainly come to the office the next day. I will take a nap, but I rarely stop working. And actually, I picked New York for treatment because I could work out of my office in New York. And it changes your outlook a little bit more on how you face problems, Glenda. You have a different philosophy on life, but it hasn't changed at all my willingness to continue to build my business. It's not about material things, but it's just about continuing to be a good corporate citizen that contributes to society. And the opportunities, when I see people who started making minimum wage and they came from a public university and now they're vice presidents and they're managers, and we have always promoted within, we probably have 1,000 engineers that wouldn't have an opportunity without our company. We always promote within, And that gives me tremendous satisfaction. You know, some people ask me, why will you work after your diagnosis and the fact that you survive? I was in the 10% of people that were able to survive, but I have a good life. I don't plan to change anything. And so it has changed probably my philosophy on the magnitude of problems, but it hasn't changed my way of life.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for that inspiration. No, that very interesting how you shared that with us. I really appreciate. And Jaime, do you have something for this final words, like final thoughts about business, about doing business in US, about how to be resilient in these times, how you guys have been able to do it in Tradeco?
Yeah, I think going back to what we were discussing, I don't see it as a one country strategy. Like as I told you, we function in many countries, but I think there's even though the crisis has been, I think more the impact of the crisis has been huge all over the place. The opportunity for the region, I see it as one region, Central America, and the opportunity is huge. The geopolitical global forces, let's say China and the US, I think by trade war, political issues, there are some spaces and small spaces in these big economies can create opportunities, can create change in our countries. And it's just a matter of aligning the strategies of governments, private sector, and try to get into investment, into the right investments, education, sustainability, and make our countries more competitive in order to take advantage of these opportunities. Because as I told you at the beginning, Asia is, and you know it, they are so aggressive. They are growing. They are becoming better economies, and as Latin America and as Central America, we've been lagging. And I think we need to get out of this shock with a lot more cohesive strategies between countries, between governments, corporate players, in order to be a better region. I think we can do it, and it's a matter of doing the right things and keep pushing.
Thank you so much, Felix Simán, Chairman and Founder of Intradeco, Jaime Miguel, CEO of Intradeco. Thank you so much to both of you for being with us today.
Thank you,
Glenda.
Thank you for you all to be with us too. I'm Glenda Umaña. See you next time.